There's as many Jeeps on the road as there are trees in the forest. The Wrangler has been popular for decades, and for 2025, it carries on with this new Willys 41. It's a special edition, special colors, and really taking the Wrangler back to its roots. Jeep is always leaning hard on its heritage, not like it really has to. The Wrangler is a direct descendant of the 1941 Willys MB from World War II. There's no denying it, it's just that now it's plainly obvious. Hood latches, exposed hooks, screws, nothing changes on a Wrangler and nothing ever will. But on the Willys 41, you're getting a special decal on that hood, gloss black headlight surrounds and on the 7-slot grille, and standard steel bumpers that are much tougher than the regular plastic ones you'll find on a stock Wrangler. Really, this is the way to go. The Willys 41 is the most authentic take on an old 1941 Willys MB. The Jeep that before it was called a Jeep was made by Willys Overland, and it won World War II for all of our GIs overseas. Pretty impressive, right? But you already know that story. This one, though, is really meant to harken back to that original style, which was also used on the CJ2A, which was sold to regular civilians. Hence, this olive drab paint. It's only on the Willys 41. And you get fake steelies. They are alloys, but they are really the coolest Wrangler wheels I have seen. 17 inches that match the paint on 33-inch all-terrain tires. Also, the stenciling and all the decals is actually mimicking that of the original 41 Willys. So Jeep has really sweated the exterior details and also gave us front and rear steel bumpers that are normally an option. Jeep gives you 6 different ways to customize the Wrangler's roof. This one has the full body color hardtop. If you're getting the soft top, this Willys 41 comes in that tan color. Again, more traditional, more heritage flavored. This one has the steel bumper, and because it's a Willys, just like the regular Willys, whether or not you get the 4xe, it has a standard rear locking differential and 33-inch tall tires as opposed to the standard 32s. Any way you look at it, the approach, the departure angles, they are massive. So you don't need to get a Rubicon to get the full Wrangler effect. The Wrangler is listed as a compact SUV, and while it might not seem like that on the outside, on the inside, there's a lot of stuff getting in the way. The exposed roll cage, all these extra big fenders here because the suspension and the tires are so large. There's a big Alpine sub, and because this is the 4xe, well, the rear seat cannot fold all the way flat. So that does inhibit cargo space and some usability, but there's still 28 cubic feet behind the rear seat and 67 when folded. The Wrangler has a lot of powertrains, just as it has tons of colors and roof options. The Willys 41 is only on the 4xe, which is only the 4-door model. And what you're getting here is the best-selling plug-in hybrid in the US for several years running. Under the hood, a 2-liter turbo inline-4. There's also a 17 kilowatt-hour battery, electric motor in the 8-speed automatic transmission, and a belt starter generator that's also electric. And what you're getting there, almost 50 mpge, which is good for a true 4-wheel drive electric SUV, and 21 miles of EPA estimated all-electric range. But there's other options. The 2-liter Turbo 4 without the hybrid assist. You can also get the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. And if you thought it had gone away forever, nope. The Hemi V8 is still on the 25 Wrangler, 6.4 liters, a ton of power and noise. Now on this truck, 3,500 pounds is max towing. Other models sport 5,000. You're not really gonna tow with the Wrangler. What you're really gonna do is go off-road. It's pretty smooth. A big part of it is because the gas engine does not have to run at all. I like that. Now it's running. We're also in manual mode. Wrangler has a lot of different settings here. Because of that low range transfer case, it wants to keep the engine on so you get all the torque from the engine and the electric motor. Driving a Wrangler is always just so easy off-road just because you can see out of everything so clearly. I know exactly the edges of the mirrors, the very edge of the fender. I know where the back of the truck is too. Really, that bumper doesn't stick out much. Aside from that tire, that's pretty much the end. You don't need the 360 cameras on all the time. It would be nice though if I was always able to see that. There's not as many views as what you'll find in competitors. So unless you're getting a Rubicon or another option package, you're not gonna get all the nice off-road cameras that I was expecting to see here, given this nice big screen. But because the Jeep is so easy to see out of, when I'm driving, I don't feel like I need to rely on them like I do in other SUVs and trucks. And it is just really cool to motor around in all-electric mode. It truly is. This one, not as high off the ground as a Rubicon. I'll watch that one for next time. But plenty of metal skid plates. Just so compliant. There's nothing special going on with the Jeep. There's solid axles, coil springs. It's rudimentary, but it works. You just point and go. That's what I always liked about the Wrangler. This one has a rear locking axle, which today I don't need. You can get a front locker if you're getting a Rubicon, which is also on the 4xe. And of course, a front sway bar disconnect. But this is just fantastic, it really is. Nice and narrow. And again, fully electric here in 4Low. I can't think of another four-wheel drive vehicle out there that does what this does. And I'm not gonna talk about those giant trucks like a Hummer EV, because yeah, that's fully electric, but what other plug-in hybrid that can switch between gas and electric can do this? There isn't one. There's plenty of power in the Wrangler 4xe. Despite this being a roughly 5,000 pound SUV, it moves just fine. The engine truly is most of the time pretty muted. Now the rest of the truck is loud as hell. You hear every single thing inside a Wrangler, even if you're in the hardtop, and even if you were to get the optional, they have like these little black panels up here that you could order for a few extra $100 to make it quieter. There's no making a Wrangler quiet. Air, tire noise, engine, driveline, it's all seeping through on every panel. I guess that's the charm of driving something that was 80 plus years old at its core. I've been driving the Wrangler on the highway because that's typically where I have to go, between where I live in Connecticut and Boston and New York, all of that stuff. So you have to take the highway, which a lot of people do. They commute in Wranglers, and I don't understand for the life of me how they do. At highway speeds, with any sort of wind, you're getting tossed around. There's not a lot of on-center feel, so you're kind of constantly fighting the truck like this. And this is not the Rubicon. This is the Willys, which is really based on the base Jeep. So this is the most street-friendly Jeep you can get with some all-terrain tires on it, granted. That doesn't really alter the character of the suspension geometry. It's just that this is just not really a comfortable highway cruiser for any amount of time. But for people who love Jeeps, they don't care about any of that. There's also no hands-free driving assist, which truly, you should never be hands-free in a Wrangler, but none of those systems are available. A lot of things like adaptive cruise, yes, that's here, but Jeep has really been slow on the uptake. If you want those features, you're gonna have to go for like a Jeep Wagoneer S, the new all-electric model they've got. But the Wrangler isn't quite there yet. But despite all the noise, it's not the noisy hybrid operation that bothers me, not at all. In fact, I think Jeep has improved how the electric motor and the gas engine are working in tandem or apart since this came out for the 2021 model year. It's very seamless, it's really very Toyota-like in operation. There's always plenty of power at the ready, and if you choose, there's actually a couple driving modes that you're not gonna get on a regular Wrangler. One of those being you can save the battery, so you can use that gas engine to put more charge in the battery if you want to use it later. And it will also have a hold feature. So say you don't want to use all of your electric range when you're driving in the morning, you can have this set so it operates like a regular hybrid, because if you don't, then it will use all the electric power by default. But despite those challenges of driving a Jeep, any Jeep Wrangler on the road, at lower speeds, and especially in the city, this is actually a great truck to have. I can excuse the steering being a little looser and wobblier because the ride actually is good on the road. All of that steering play that I'm talking about, it's a byproduct of the fact that the suspension is designed for really long strokes, a lot of compression, a lot of rebound. There's a lot of movement involved here that makes the Wrangler really an excellent off-road champ. But on the road, even though there's not a lot of total grip, and there's certainly some body roll, in everyday use, I just like the fact that it is compliant, and it just makes this truck easy to drive. Because it truly is a truck. This is body on frame. This is not comparable to any other compact SUV out there. The only thing you're looking at is a Ford Bronco, maybe a Toyota 4Runner, which is really a little bit bigger, but not by much. So there's not a ton of competition out there. So despite how old school the Wrangler is, it's livable at low speeds. I would not tolerate a Wrangler for highway commutes, not for more than a few miles. I see people doing it all the time. That would never be me. More about how the hybrid system works. The engine really will turn off at higher speeds, and it can do so under light loads, so you can just use the electric motor. I like that, and especially if it's fully charged, this will drive entirely on electric unless you are flooring it. So that's really good. There's enough power from that battery and the electric motor that's housed in that transmission to take this Jeep at decent speeds. And off-road, you can do that even longer. Creep around, crawl around, board low, for the most part, in complete silence. Brake pedal feels a little soft at first because of that electric regen. And I like to gently steer any Wrangler, because I've done it before where you want to push it more, and don't. Don't is always the answer. Gentle acceleration, gentle curves, and you definitely feel the blocks of those tires biting into the pavement, so you get that nice rumbly feel. The brakes are good, and I do like how the regen is here. They've done a good job with that brake feel. If you thought side curtain airbags was a big new feature, try standard power windows and locks on every single Wrangler. The Willys 41 comes with these tan cloth seats, more olive trim. It's like this fabric here on the dash, and a 41 shifter cap. The materials are generally okay for a Jeep, but that doesn't mean any of the fit and finish are up to modern car standards. They definitely are not. But for looks-wise, yes, the Wrangler is definitely hitting all the right notes. I like the Jeep's open cabin, but to be honest, at $70,000 and above, none of this feels like a $70,000 and above truck. Headroom is pretty decent, legroom not so much, but if you're choosing the 4xe, despite sitting on the back of a big battery, well, it's really not all that compromised. What is compromised? The fact that I have to look at this giant roll bar right in front of me. That doesn't really make me feel all that safe inside a Wrangler, but hey, there's side curtain airbags, and that truly can be a lifesaver. Every Wrangler has a 12.3-inch touchscreen. It's really nicely integrated into this dash. You can also customize it. The legibility is actually much better than previous systems. Status bar up here, you can change the widgets here if you want. Apps, you can see the hybrid mode if you want. The off-road pages are really where it's at. And some of these are duplicated inside the instrument panel, but I like them here. I also like the fact that there's climate controls for everything. So even if I go here, see, I see an icon up here. I can change the temperature, and if I want to change it up here or change the seat, I also have a touchscreen control, so that's pretty nice. You don't have to use one or the other, but I like the fact that there's both. And wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto also comes standard. The central instrument panel here, that display, ton of information, really easy to use. I like that there's just a 4-way thumb pad here. You can go through everything, and you can customize what's in all 4 corners if you so choose as well. See what's in the audio. It's actually pretty good. I really like this. And if you like all these auxiliary information, what other car is telling you transmission temperature? Not very many. But all the Stellantis vehicles, they do. So I appreciate that. You can see all these features too on the touchscreen, but it's nice to have them right at your fingertips. The 2025 Jeep Wrangler starts at $33,000 for the 2-door Sport. The 4-door costs $37,000 to start. There's a dozen trims, 8 on the 4xe, which only comes as a 4-door. That one starts around $50K. As tested, the Willys 41 4xe, $72,000. But right now there are big incentives on every Wrangler, thousands off, even more on a lease. But there's still competitors, the Ford Bronco, Land Rover Defender, Toyota 4Runner, or the Tacoma. The Wrangler isn't changing what it's all about. It offers exemplary off-road performance, and this plug-in hybrid powertrain is really serving it well after all these years. You get decent electric range and all the performance with no sacrifices. The only on-road sacrifices you're getting, of course, are some ride comfort and a lot of the drivability, especially in the steering. But that's what a Wrangler has always been. You put up with that because it's really authentic, and there's very, very few trucks like it on the road, especially after all this time in production. What do you think? Go to CarGurus.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.